Hi everyone, I'm Jason C. Brown from KettlebellAthletics.com and CrossFitPhilly.com. I'm here with my homeboy Zach Evanish of CombatGrappler.com and UndergroundStrengthCoach.com. Today we're going to film kettlebell training for the combat athlete. Our first move is going to be the two-handed kettlebell swing. Zach is going to demo while I give you some tips. Kettlebell swing is all about explosive hip and knee extension. It's driven by your hips. It should not be a shoulder movement. Beautiful. This will probably be one of the quickest movements you do. It should feel very much like a broad jump or a vertical jump. Again, quick hip action. This is the traditional two-handed kettlebell swing. Now Zach is going to demo the American kettlebell swing, which just has a higher range of motion, longer range of motion. But the important part is, on the American swing, you actively pull down the kettlebell as fast as possible. So on the traditional one, the kettlebell sort of falls passively on its own. On the American swing, you actively pull down with your back muscles to quicken the speed of the swing. Right here, beautiful. Zach's actively pulling down with his lats to make the descent quicker. Beautiful. From another angle. Just another way to force some deceleration training into your hips. Lower body, beautiful, excellent. Now Zach's going to demo the one-handed kettlebell swing. Form remains the same, biomechanics are the same, still driving with the hips, still quick hip action. Beautiful. One-handed kettlebell swing.
Now Jason's going to demonstrate the hand-to-hand kettlebell swing. This is just a different variation of the swing. It's good for developing hand-eye coordination, some hand speed, and also hand and grip strength because you're catching the weight as it's falling down. For anybody in MMA, or even the grappler, you pull back the hand to protect the side of the head. So you can start mimicking some of the movements that you do, whatever respective sport that you're in. Now Jason's going to do another variation of the hand-to-hand swing, and our focus is going to be on hand speed. So it goes up, and we get a couple of taps in before it goes down. Excellent to do these outdoors the first time because you're probably going to drop it before you feel comfortable tapping it. The key is not to tap it too hard so the kettlebell does not run away from you. A couple jabs, grab it, squat back.
Excellent. The next drill we're going to cover is the kettlebell walking swing. Zach is going to demo first with a two-handed swing, okay? And he's going to take us, as the kettlebell is weightless at the top, he's going to take a quick step with his right leg, okay? He's going to step with his right leg on the way down first, and on the way back he's going to lead with his left leg. Again, as the kettlebell is weightless at the top, you take a quick step, okay? Watch. This is an excellent conditioning tool. You can work from one end of the mat down to the other and back. Now Zach is going to demo the one-handed walking kettlebell swing. One-handed. Again, stepping with his right foot. Awesome. Kettlebell walking swing.
Jason's going to now demonstrate the one-hand or the hand-to-hand walking swings, a little bit more advanced, hand-eye coordination, hand speed, and of course a little bit better for grip and hand strength since you're catching the weight as it's coming down. Make sure that you alternate the foot that steps forward. You want to go usually with your non-dominant leg first, come back with your dominant leg. Check it out. Jason's now going to demonstrate the lateral walking swing. These are great for developing stability in the hips, the glutes, your knees, and your ankles. You want to make sure that you're training in a variety of directions and your movements, you expose yourself to a variety of movements, not just straight ahead and backwards. So now we're going to check out lateral swings. Now we're going to go into the one-hand lateral swing. What you want to try to do for the beginner is if you're traveling to the right, swing with your right hand. When you're traveling left, swing with the left hand. As you get more adept at the exercise, then you can switch hands and mix it up. Jason's going to go with the beginner way. Check it out right here. Now we're going to move on to the more advanced version of lateral swings, one hand at a time, but you're going hand to hand. This is of course more advanced, and as mentioned before, when you're grabbing the kettlebell as it's going down, this is going to improve hand strength, grip endurance. The higher reps or the more time you do, great for developing work capacity. So you don't have to just do these for reps or for distance. You could also go for time to simulate the amount of time in a match. Check these out right here.
The next drill we're going to cover are multi-directional swings. Zach is going to demo the multi-directional swings. It's really important that you don't develop a pattern. You just go with whatever comes natural doing the multi-directional swings. It's a great movement for your entire core. Any type of throwing moves, the multi-directional swing will meet those needs. Go ahead, Zach. He's just mixing it up. He's not going with any set pattern. He's just going wherever his body feels to go at that time. The next move that Zach is going to demo is called the crescent swing or the pirouette swing. Right? It's a complete 180 turn while performing a swing. Watch Zach.
A lot of power here. Swing up explosively, let the explosiveness just take your body around.
That's probably the most athletic swing variation that you'll encounter. It's an incredible movement, incredible. The next drill we're going to cover is called the Kettlebell Power Bomb Swing. It's inspired from Smitty and Jed over at the Diesel crew. Okay? Zach's going to demo. It's just a kettlebell swing, but it's awesome for storing the elastic energy in your hip. Louis Simmons has a saying, Louis Simmons of West Side Barbell, the faster down, faster up. This is incredible for creating a stretch reflex in the hips and the hamstrings and powering you back up very quickly. Ready?
We're going to do the first 2 reps just as a traditional swing. Once you get into the groove, that's when your partner starts forcefully pushing down on the kettlebell. Don't go too high in the reps here, so you keep your reversal strength high.
The most important thing is the deceleration on the way down, okay? 2 normal swings, then we're going to go. Kettlebell swing power bomb variation.
We're going to demonstrate yet another variation of the swing. We're going to use the band swings. These you want to do with 2 hands just because of the grip factor, especially when you're using a heavier band. This is excellent for developing reversal strength, acceleration, and like Jason said before, inspired by Louis of Westside Barbell, faster down, faster up. Excellent for building reversal strength, so for grapplers, wrestlers, stand-up fighters, somebody attacking you, being able to reverse that motion quickly. Before we actually start though, we want to actually show you how to demonstrate the setup for preparing to do the 2-hand band swing. So take a look here.
Most basic setup is just to form a figure 8 around the handle. Right? So you're going to take your band, wrap it around the handle, and form a figure 8. Okay? You're going to stretch out the band, and you're actually going to step on it. Make sure it's tight underneath your feet and secure around the kettlebell. Right? You should form an X or 8. From there, you just perform the swing. But be careful, because it's going to be unexpected. The reversal is going to be very unexpected. You can start off low. Just train safe because it's very unexpected how quickly it will snap you back down. It's beautiful.
We're going to actually show you a different way that some people set up the kettlebell on the band. It's actually a way that we don't encourage for several reasons. This way that they do it is they loop it through and then they step on the band. The reason why we don't like this is, number one, when you're holding on to the kettlebell and it's at the top, the kettlebell tends to flop around a lot, which isn't too safe. Number two, you're unable to really get your hands around the handle for that crush grip. And when you're doing band swings, the forceful nature is excellent for developing your crushing grip strength, your static strength of the hands. So this is the way that we actually don't like to do it. You certainly could try it, but we prefer to do the way that Jason just showed, which is like the figure 8 going around the kettlebell. It's a little bit more comfortable on the hands where you just exit right here. And as you can see, if I want to put my hands on the handles, I've got plenty of room, especially for the bigger guys who have larger hands. If you've got bands wrapped around here, you're not going to have a solid grip, which isn't the safest way to go. So we encourage you going with the first way.
One other thing is, if you needed to increase the tension using the figure 8 method, you just take it around twice. It does eat up a little more of the handle, but it will increase band tension. Okay? It does eat up more of the handle, but you can still get, as you can see, I can still get my hands on there. All right?
Now we're going to get into demonstrating the one-hand kettlebell clean. A lot of people think that the kettlebell clean is just a means to getting the weight up and going into another exercise. We go heavy on these, or we go high reps, and we also can do these ballistic style where they bang into your body. So there's a lot of variations here, and actually a lot of use. We're going to start with the beginner one. Jason's just going to go straight up and down with it, real tight form, and then we're going to get into the other more advanced variations. I'm going to now demonstrate a different variation. You notice Jason's clean went straight up and down, which is great for hitting the quads and the upper body. The variation I'm going to show, I'm going to have the kettlebell travel slightly behind me, which helps develop the hamstrings, the lower back, and the glutes a little bit more. So if somebody's a little weaker on takedowns or needs to develop the posterior, this is an excellent variation.
Zach's just letting the kettlebell swing further behind his hips on the way down. A great way to just store that elastic energy and train some deceleration. Next move we're going to do is the 2 kettlebell clean. Okay. This will be more of the version that Zach demoed, okay? Because I will use the elastic energy in my hips. It won't be straight up and down. Now Zach is going to demo the alternating 2 kettlebell clean.
Just let your body, don't analyze this movement, let your body go with the flow.
This is very hard to coordinate, but it's an awesome drill. You do this for 10 seconds and you'll see just how exhausting it is.
Excellent for grip.
Excellent movement for the combat round. Definitely.
Jason's going to demonstrate the anchor clean right now. One's going to be hanging while the other arm is doing the clean motion. Once again, you can do these for higher reps or you could go with heavier weight. Don't misunderstand the effectiveness of this exercise, especially with heavy weights or for longer time periods. Check out the anchor clean right here. Straight up and down. Elbows in tight. Explosive on the way up.
You could do 1 arm, couple reps. We're alternating. The next variation we're going to do is it's a full clean. The other clean variations we showed you are typically known as a power clean just because you end up in more upright posture, your knee bend isn't too great. These are full cleans, okay? Zach's going to demo the 1 arm. This is great just to learn how to decelerate the force to go with the flow. Zach is actually absorbing the force during the squat on the way down, right there. Boom, he's going with it. Beautiful. Beautiful. So he's barely taking any impact of the kettlebell because he's just decelerating the force of the kettlebell on the way down. That's a one-handed full clean, just a different angle. Right there, baby. Very challenging movement. Awesome.
Excellent for BJJ grapplers, learning to go with the flow. Instead of being so aggressive, you're now just letting your body move with the weights here.
Next variation is just doubles. 2 kettlebells. Same thing Zach just did, just using 2 kettlebells. Very hard.
Jason's going to demonstrate the lateral swings, or actually the lateral cleans. Once again, this is a great way to move away from just front to back training. Excellent for stability in the knees, the ankles, and working your hips and glutes. Just a different variation. If you're traveling to the right for beginners, clean with the right. If you're moving left, clean with the left.
Next drill we're going to cover is the high pull, kettlebell high pull. Very similar to a swing, except it's vertical pattern instead of a horizontal pattern. Two-handed high pull. Again, driven with the hips, just from the side now. You can let the kettlebell pass behind your hips. One-handed high pull, kettlebell high pull. Zach's going to demo one-handed. Get a real good shrug of the upper back and shoulders. Excellent full body movement right here.
You could also do these with a little bit of the swing variation where they travel behind you. It's more of a rhythmic style instead of explosive. Notice the arc. Just another variation.
One last variation you can do is from the floor. So instead of using the elastic energy in your hips, you just go from a dead stop on the floor. Just a way to work on starting strength or starting power.
We're going to go into the two-hand high pull using the dynamic method, using the bands. Once again, set it up so we've got an X. Keep it tight around the handles. Get a wide stance so you can stretch the band apart. And make sure that you are supported well and that your feet, you almost want to think of spreading the floor apart with your feet. That's going to actively engage your hips. We don't want the knees bucking in. Okay, so we want the hips working while we're pulling. I'm going to go straight up and down, and I'll also get a couple variations of the swing where it travels behind me. My first 1 or 2 reps may not be as high, and then I'll get into it here. Here we go, high pull. Now we're going to demonstrate the one-arm snatch. Extremely grueling exercise. Whether you do it for high reps or low reps, it doesn't matter. Full body exercise here. Possibly the only muscle that doesn't really attack are your chest muscles. We're going to show a variety of kettlebell snatch movements here. The first one I'm going to show is just the traditional movement. This one, once again, you can do it for high reps with a moderate weight or lower reps with a heavier weight. We'll go from the side first. Pull it up and punch. Next variation I'm going to show, head on, is from the dead hang. So you're not getting any momentum, not letting the kettlebell swing behind you. A little bit harder. We're working on starting strength or starting power. What I like to do is when it's here, I'll count backwards. 3, 2, 1, pull and punch. Dead hang. 3, 2, 1. Dead hang. 3, 2, 1. Jason's going to show another variation of the snatch from the ground. Much more challenging. Alternate hands. Or you can do a couple consecutive reps on one side, then switch off. One more. Awesome. Once again, this is a great movement for full body conditioning, full body power development. Take care not to overdo these if you have shoulder problems. A lot of overhead work could lead to the nagging shoulder problems, so we like to use variety with the overhead exercises that we incorporate. You notice that on Jason's reps, his feet actually leave the ground. He's not doing that intentionally. That's just him developing power and exploding through. Start light on the ones that are from the ground up, and on the ones where you get more of a traditional swing, that's where you could go a little bit heavier, getting more of a rhythmic style. Use all the variations, though. They're excellent for full body power, conditioning, and definitely will test your mental toughness.
The next drill we're going to cover is the 2 kettlebell snatch, double snatch, okay? I recommend bringing them to your shoulders before you allow them to go back down, just for safety reasons. So pay attention to your knees, okay? Very tough drill.
Another variation of the kettlebell snatch is alternating. So while one kettlebell is hanging, the other arm is performing. This loads the body a little bit differently, pulls you down to one side, and also lets you get extra grip work in. Once again, I'm going to go up with one, down. Up with the other, down. Make sure you complete equal reps on both sides. And as we demonstrated with the cleans earlier, you can do a couple reps consecutive on one arm before switching over. But for this demonstration, I'm just going to go right, left. Stand up with it. Pull and punch.
Next drill we're going to do is the military press standard overhead press. Zach's going to clean the kettlebell into position. Good clean. You're just going to press overhead. Unilateral loading is great. Everybody talks about core conditioning and everything. This movement is great for that side. Awesome. One kettlebell overhead press. 2 kettlebell overhead press. You have to double clean the kettlebells. You can go in a seesaw pattern, as one's coming up, the other one's coming down.
Next variation of the military press, we're going to go from the alternating rack press. So while one rests in the rack position, the other arm presses up. This is awesome for developing abdominal strength. Great for stand-up fighters who get a lot of hits to the midsection. Talk about a hard abdominal exercise. Just holding kettlebells in the rack position strengthens those abs. Because you really have to get your stomach filled up with air. It's like getting ready to take a blow to the stomach. Now we're going for the punch press. While one remains in the upright position, the other one presses up and down. Stability in the upper back, shoulders, lower back, triceps, hand strength and grip strength. This is one that you need to move a bit more slowly with. You don't want to go through on a fast pace with these. So when you're in the overhead position, as Steve Cotter says, it's a position of extreme compromise, being overhead. Take it slower.
The next drill in our progression is a push press. Zach's going to demo the 1 kettlebell push press. This movement is driven with the hips and the lower body. It's not a very isolated movement. It's not just a shoulder movement. The upward momentum and elevation should come from the lower body. See, Zach gets a triple extension here of the hip, knee and ankle, creating elevation and momentum on the kettlebell. Now Zach's going to demo the 2 kettlebell push press.
Loads the body a bit differently. Once again, use both variations.
These movements build a very solid torso. They're incredible for developing very solid core and torso. Again, driven with the lower body, not a shoulder movement. Although you'll feel it in your shoulders, the majority of the force comes from the lower body.
Lower body, upper back, shoulders. We are athletes, so you don't necessarily always have to isolate muscles. Think of training movements and working the musculature that's involved in what we do. Stand-up fighting, working on the ground, being tight in here, train a variety of these movements.
The next drill in our progression is the thruster. It's very similar to a push press, except you drop into a full squat. Okay. First drill we're going to do is the 1 kettlebell thruster. Have to clean it into position. This move is an incredible drill for conditioning. If you want great conditioning, perform thrusters for high reps. Two kettlebell thrusters. Much more challenging. Again, if you want great conditioning, perform thrusters for high reps. The final drill in our overhead progression is the 1 kettlebell jerk. Then we're going to get into the 2 kettlebell jerk. Excellent for explosion and power. Okay. So the difference between a push press and a jerk: push presses have 1 dip and a drive overhead. Jerks have 1 dip, drive, 2nd dip. Okay. When you start to train with heavy weights, you're not going to be able to always press it overhead or push press it overhead. You're going to have to lower yourself below the weight. That's where jerks come in. So you have to clean it into position. 1 dip, drive, 2nd dip. Right? So it's 1 dip, drive, 2nd dip. I'll do it real time. So 1 kettlebell jerk. Now demo the 2 kettlebell jerk. incredible movement for creating power and explosion throughout your entire body. 2 kettlebell jerk. One last drill I'd like to show you in our jerk progression and overhead progression. I call it the split squat jerk or the duck under jerk. It's very similar to a duck under in grappling. You have to clean into position, get into a split squat. Okay? Initially you could start with an overhead press. Then you could progress into the jerk. This is very tough. I recommend that you have all the other drills very developed and very refined before you even try to tackle that one. Split squat jerk or duck under jerk.
We're going to start demonstrating some burpee variations. Burpees, you throw them in there, number 1, for conditioning purposes. Number 2, stability of the core, shoulders, and upper back. So there's endless variations of burpees that you could do with kettlebells. We also do them with sandbags and barbells. But I'm going to demonstrate the burpee into the double clean. For extra variation, I'm going to throw in a push-up after I do the burpee. That's up to you. But burpees done for high reps or time, those are king for developing conditioning. I'm going to take the first one slow. Good posture, chest up, legs back, push up, explode forward, explode the weights up. Back down with control. You want to get that deadlift in correctly. Don't hunch over, okay? Squat down, shoot back, push up, jump. Take from the side. Okay, now I'm going to show the burpee into a clean, into a squat. If you want to get some extra upper body work in there, you always throw in the push-up. This burpee into the clean and squat is normally for conditioning and lower body strength or lower body endurance. When we start getting to the other variations, you'll see how we can use more full body work. Burpee, clean, squat. Good form. Push up. Stay tight. Here we go. Now it's starting to get tougher. Full body conditioning. Burpee into a push-up. Jump the legs forward, clean it, perform a variation of the military press. You've got a push press, strict press, you've got alternating presses. We're going to mix them all in together to make the body work much harder. Kettlebells at a 45-degree angle, so they're more efficient for you to clean, more comfortable. Burpee, push it, clean, press, press.
One more variation that we like, it's a burpee, clean, full squat, press overhead. It will make you throw up. Now we're going to start getting into our lunges. The first lunge that we're going to demo is the lateral lunge. Lateral lunges are great for developing multi-directional strength and quickness. I also like lateral lunges because they're not a very full range of motion. And in grappling, oftentimes when you shoot in, you're not going to go into a perfect, very deep lunge. It's going to be right here. Okay? So that's why I like lateral lunges. It just reinforces and strengthens that movement pattern. Zach's going to demo. First by holding the kettlebell by the horns.
Holding it right here allows us to get upper body work as well as the lower body, which is excellent, very efficient way to train.
This is great for developing static strength, isometric strength in the upper arms, upper back, all essential for a combat grappler. Beautiful. Now Zach's just going to bear hug the kettlebell. Just another variation that we use. Okay? Just going to hug it. Again, developing isometric or static strength throughout the arm, upper body, upper back.
Also puts a load against your chest. Going in for takedowns, you have that load, so helps mimic a little bit of what goes on during takedowns.
Great drill for developing power in the hips, your inner thigh, adductors. You're not always going to move straight ahead in any sport, let alone grappling. So that's why we like to stress the lateral lunge in our programs. For a bigger resource on kettlebell lunges, please check out Kettlebell Training for Sport. Excellent resource for more kettlebell lunges.
Now we're going to demonstrate the walking lunge using one kettlebell from the rack position. This is going to force you to keep an upright posture while loading the upper body as well as the lower body. Once again, a lot of variety with lunges. You'll also see them in our other DVD, Kettlebell Training for Sport. This variation forces you to stay upright, and although in takedowns you're not always upright, there are forward leans. We're going to show variations of those as well to attack the musculature from different angles. Jason's going to demonstrate the rack walking lunge using one kettlebell. Next variation of the one-handed rack lunge is instead of supporting with the other hand, you're going to keep that arm out to the side. This is going to force the upper body and your abdominals and your core area to work a little bit tougher, slightly more advanced version. Arm out to the side. Let's check it out.
Another variation that we do is 2 kettlebells in a rack position walking lunge. It's essential that you keep your body upright, just because the weight of the kettlebell is going to want to pull you forward. All right? Very tough to keep an upright posture. The next movement we're going to get into are rows, kettlebell rows. Upper back, strong upper back, shoulders, and upper arms are essential for the combat grappler. There's 2 ways you can load this movement, okay? First variation would have the kettlebells between your legs. This is the variation that I prefer. I like the wider base, okay? But it does have a drawback, and I'll explain that later. Sit back with your hips flat back, 2 kettlebells, row. Okay, I'll show that from the side. The second variation that you can do with that is have the kettlebells outside of your legs. The good thing about this variation is it extends the range of motion. You can get your elbows behind your body a little further. You're a little less stable though. Again, sit back with your hips, flat back. Again from the side. Another variation that we do is alternating kettlebell rows. Several ways you can do these. You can alternate, you can row one kettlebell while the other one is in a down position. Okay, I'll demo that now. Keep one kettlebell down, row. Okay, the second variation, you keep one kettlebell up. Builds incredible strength, endurance, and isometric strength in your entire upper back and upper arm. Keep one kettlebell up. Okay. Finally, the last variation is a seesaw row. As one's coming up, the other one is coming down. I'll show that from the side. Beautiful. There are the row variations that we used. All right?
Notice can't interfere with my focus, baby. Jason C. Brown got knocked out by a 1 ounce ball. That's the difference between him and I.